Have you ever scheduled an important meeting at 2 o'clock only to feel like your brain is moving through molasses? Or found yourself suddenly wide awake at 10 p.m. just when it's too late to do anything productive? We all know the drill. You set your to-do list, grab your coffee, and power through. But what if the timing of everything you do could be the game changer? What if there was a science behind when you do things, not just what you're doing? That's exactly what Daniel Pink explores in When: The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. Far from being a matter of luck, Pink dives into how our biology, psychology, and even social rhythms shape everything from our energy and decision-making to our productivity. I'll drop a link below if you want to check it out for yourself. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Shannon, your barefoot librarian. After years as a librarian and English teacher with a master's degree in education, I can tell you most nonfiction is full of fluff. But when a book actually gives you something worth your time, I'm digging into every detail, testing every claim, and delivering only the stuff that's worth underlining. And trust me, When is one of those books. If you've ever found yourself dragging in the afternoon or wishing you could focus when it actually counts, you are going to love this. I'm breaking down Pink's research on daily rhythms, the importance of breaks, how to make the most of those tricky midpoints, and how endings can actually boost your memories and motivation. Plus, I'm sharing some easy takeaways you can use right away. Quick challenge, try just one of Pink's strategies this week and see for yourself if timing really makes a difference in your energy and focus. Let's find out together. Okay, let's talk about understanding the hidden rhythms of your day and how timing impacts your energy. Have you ever noticed that some days you're on fire in the morning, but by midday you can barely keep your eyes open? And then later in the day, boom, you suddenly feel energized again. Well, this isn't just in your head. It's actually a natural rhythm your body follows throughout the day. And Daniel Pink calls it the 3 waves of energy: peak, trough, and rebound. Generally, we experience what's called a U-shaped curve of energy over the course of the day. Most people have their peaks in the morning when they're sharpest for analytical tasks. Then comes the dreaded trough, the midday slump, when making decisions feels like wading through mud. But don't worry, your energy doesn't stay low for long. You'll hit the rebound in the late afternoon or early evening, which is when your creative energy really kicks in. So what does all of this mean? Well, Pink's research shows that cognitive performance can actually fluctuate by up to 20% throughout the day. That means the time of day can have a serious impact on how productive or focused you feel. Now, Pink also talks about something else that plays into this: chronotypes. That's a fancy word for whether you're a morning person, a lark, a night owl, or a third bird. Let's break it down. First up, larks. These are the morning people. You're best when the sun rises, and by night, you're ready for bed. I am definitely a lark. Up with the sun, bright-eyed, and ready to go by 5 a.m. But by 8 p.m., I'm pretty much a pumpkin, all out of energy. Next up, owls. You can barely get going in the morning, but once the afternoon hits, you're ready to rock and roll. And then there are the third birds. Most people actually fall into this category. You're a middle of the day person, peaking in the late morning and maybe feeling a slump right after lunch. Here's something cool and a little scary. One study found that students who took their tests in the afternoon scored significantly worse than their counterparts who tested in the morning, just because of the timing. So it's not just your imagination. Timing really does affect your performance. Here's what you can do about it. Take Pink's Chronotype quiz, which I will be linking below, to find out if you're a lark, night owl, or third bird. If you're a lark, aim to schedule your deep work before 10 a.m. when you're at your peak. Owls, save your creative tasks for after 6 p.m. when your energy is on the rise. All right, let's talk about something we often overlook in our busy days: breaks. I know we sometimes think pushing through without them makes us more productive, but science says otherwise. Your brain actually needs regular breaks to perform at its best. Here's the science. Taking breaks isn't a luxury, it's a biological necessity. When you push through without stopping, your brain gets overloaded, your focus starts to dip, and your creativity falls flat. The ideal break? Try to step outside for 20 minutes. Yes, 20 minutes, preferably with some sunlight and movement. Why does this work? Well, sunlight helps reset your circadian rhythm, which keeps your energy and focus in check. Movement? That boosts blood flow, getting oxygen to your brain to help you think more clearly. Plus, it helps your body stay energized throughout the day. Now, about lunch. You might think you're saving time by eating at your desk or skipping the break, but it actually leads to more errors and lower creativity. In fact, skipping meals, especially lunch, is linked to a drop in cognitive performance. So take your lunch break seriously. Give yourself permission to step away from your desk and really take a break during lunchtime. Your brain, body, and productivity will thank you. Okay, here's something I never thought I'd say. Naps are a game changer. I've struggled with sleep for years, and I was so skeptical about introducing a midday nap. If I already have trouble falling asleep at night, wouldn't this make it worse? Nope, it's been fantastic. And now I aim to sneak a quick nap whenever possible. Research shows that short naps, 10 to 20 minutes, are perfect for boosting cognitive function, memory, and focus. When you keep it short, under 30 minutes, you don't enter deep sleep in the REM cycle, so you'll wake up feeling refreshed, not groggy. Pro tip, on average, it takes about 7 minutes to fall asleep. So set your timer for 25 to 30 minutes to get the most out of it without hitting that sluggish post-nap haze. Even NASA backs this up. A 26-minute nap improved pilot performance by 34%. And while you and I might not be flying a spaceship anytime soon, that kind of productivity boost is worth the time investment. Now, if you really want to level up your nap, there's something called a nappuccino, where you drink coffee right before napping. Since caffeine takes about 20 minutes to kick in, your sleep won't be affected, but you'll wake up feeling refreshed and caffeinated. Wow. Full disclosure, I haven't tried this because I don't do caffeine. Ever. If I did, I'd probably be vibrating into another dimension. But if you're someone who can handle coffee, try it out and let me know how it goes. Better together, why timing is a team sport. Timing isn't just a personal thing, it's profoundly social. It shapes not only how we manage our own energy, but how we work alongside others. Research shows that when groups synchronize their efforts, their performance often improves. Think about a choir, a rowing team, or a well-coordinated kitchen staff. When people move in rhythm together, something powerful happens. I've seen this at play in my own life, I just didn't have the science to explain it until now. I help lead a dance fitness class, and it never fails to amaze me how different it feels to move in sync with a group. When I'm practicing at home, I lose steam so much faster. But in the studio, surrounded by other women all pushing themselves to the max, I somehow find another gear I didn't even know I had. The music, the energy, the shared effort, it lifts all of us. Reading this section of When helped me realize it's not just in my head. There's real power in moving together, literally. Daniel Pink points to the same idea in When, highlighting a fascinating example from hospitals. Some surgical teams have started using what they call vigilance breaks, short scheduled pauses where the whole team stops to regroup and focus. These aren't solo coffee breaks, they're collective moments to review what's been done, clarify what's ahead, and reset together. The result? A 30% reduction in surgical errors. Turns out, taking breaks in sync doesn't just boost connection, it boosts safety and performance too. But the benefits of synchronizing go beyond just performance. There are also social and health benefits. When people synchronize, it can lead to increased bonding and trust. It even triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which promotes feelings of connection and belonging. And when groups sing, dance, or even swing together on the playground, they experience improved mood, reduced stress, and better overall well-being. So why does all of this work? It's all about creating shared rhythms. Groups thrive on what are called shared temporal landmarks. Basically, specific times or rituals that mark a fresh start, or a moment of reflection. This could be a Friday reflection, a Monday morning kickoff, or even a scheduled team break in the middle of a big project. These moments help us reset, realign, and move forward together. Next up, let's chat about how to navigate beginnings, midpoints, and endings. We tend to think success is all about what we do, but when we do it matters just as much. Our motivation, focus, and performance rise and fall in patterns throughout the day, week, and even over the course of a project. The good news? Once you recognize these hidden rhythms, you can use them to your advantage instead of fighting against them. Daniel Pink breaks this down into 3 key moments: beginnings, midpoints, and endings. Mastering these can transform not just your productivity, but also how you feel about your work and goals. Let's start with beginnings. Have you ever noticed how Mondays, birthdays, and New Year's Day feel like a reset? That's the fresh start effect. a concept studied by behavioral scientist Katie Milkman and highlighted by Daniel Pink. Research shows that people are more likely to take action toward a goal after a temporal landmark, a moment that psychologically separates the old you from the new you. This could be the first day of the month, the start of a new season, or even a random Tuesday afternoon if that's when you decide the fresh start is going to be. If you've had a bad morning, restart your day at 2 p.m. Pink encourages short reset rituals like a quick walk, a few deep breaths, or rewriting your priorities to trick your brain into the fresh beginning. And if you really want to lock in motivation, start your goals alongside someone else. Research shows that shared beginnings, whether in a work project, a fitness challenge, or a study group, create social accountability, making you more likely to follow through. Next, let's talk about midpoints. Midpoints can go one of two ways. They can be a slump or energy and motivation dip, or they can be a wake-up call that fuels action. Pink explains that teams, students, and individuals often experience a midpoint dip, but those who recognize it can use it as a catalyst for renewed effort. One study highlighted that NBA teams losing at halftime by just 1 point were actually more likely to win the game than the teams that were slightly ahead. Why? Because the feeling of being just behind triggers a motivational surge. Instead of dragging through the middle of a project, try reframing midpoints as a wake-up call. That slightly behind mindset can actually push you to work harder. Pink also suggests setting midpoint check-ins, whether it's mid-week, mid-project, or mid-month, so you actively acknowledge the midpoint rather than passively drifting through it. A halftime pep talk can make all the difference. Finally, let's talk about endings. Daniel Pink highlights the work of Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who discovered that we judge experiences based on 2 moments, the peak and the end. This explains why the end of a vacation determines how you remember the whole trip, why a strong final impression in an interview can override a weak start, and why that project that finishes on a high note feels more successful, even if there were struggles all along the way. You can use this to your advantage by ending your workday with a win. Before you log off, write down your biggest win of the day, something that went well or you're proud of, along with your top priority for tomorrow. This creates a sense of closure while giving you direction for the next day. If you are leading a meeting, don't just let it fizzle out. Wrap it up with a highlight, a moment of gratitude, or an exciting next step. And if you have a big project or goal, plan for a strong finish. Pink notes that people push hardest toward the end of a race or deadline, so that built-in motivation surge is something you can actually use to your advantage. By understanding the hidden power of beginnings, midpoints, and endings, you can time your efforts for maximum impact. All right, let's chat through the book's potential weaknesses. Can perfect timing really be achieved? We all love the idea of perfect timing, hitting peak productivity at just the right moment, syncing with our energy cycles, and scheduling our lives for maximum efficiency. I love that too. But how realistic is it? When we do things matters, but life isn't always that flexible. Take chronotypes, for example. Research shows that some of us are wired as early birds, larks, while others thrive at night, owls. But is that set in stone? Not exactly. Environment plays a huge role. Things like screen time before bed, work schedules, even parenting responsibilities can override our natural rhythms. You might want to be a night owl, but if your kids wake up at 6 a.m., your body doesn't get much of a say. And then there's the ideal work-break balance. Studies show that working in focused bursts of 52 minutes and then taking a 17-minute break is the sweet spot for productivity. But let's be real, how many of us have the luxury to step away that often? If you're in back-to-back meetings or wrangling a never-ending to-do list, or children, those precise break schedules might not be practical. All that to say, WIN is packed with great research, but it doesn't exactly break new ground. Instead, Pink excels at pulling together studies and packaging them into a framework that makes sense. The challenge? Not all of his insights fit neatly into real-life schedules. The science is solid, but applying it, that's where our real work begins. My personal experiment and your barefoot challenge. I used to think productivity was all about willpower. Just push through, right? But after tracking my energy levels for a week, I realized I was working against myself. My focus peaks in the morning, slumps in the afternoon, and then I get a second wind in the early evening. Now I batch my deep work in the morning, save easier tasks for later, and finally stop feeling guilty about my afternoon energy dip. Most days I even try for a 20 to 30 minute nap. I've also been more mindful about taking real breaks. No scrolling, just stepping away from my computer or book to reset my brain. As I mentioned, research suggests the ideal work rhythm is 52 minutes of focus followed by a 17-minute break. But honestly, any break that actually works for you is much better than none. Since making this shift, I'm getting more done and feeling significantly better while doing it. All right, today's Barefoot Challenge is to try tracking your energy for a week and see what patterns emerge. Are your best and worst hours what you expected? Once you know, see if tweaking your schedule, like working in focused chunks with intentional breaks, can help you work smarter, not harder. Mastering timing isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about working with your natural rhythms instead of against them. Whether it's structuring your day around your energy peaks, taking smarter breaks, or harnessing the power of fresh starts, these small shifts can make a huge difference in how you feel and what you accomplish. If this fascinates you as much as it did me, I highly recommend checking out The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing by Daniel H. Pink. It's packed with research-backed insights and practical takeaways that can help you align your schedule with science instead of just guesswork. As always, I'll drop a link for you below. And if you try out any of these strategies, let me know. I'd love to hear how timing is working or not working for you. Drop a comment and let's compare notes. That's all for now. Take care, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.